Hello, everyone, and welcome to Finish Strong Wednesdays. I see our audience is growing by the minute. And now that you've joined us, I'd like to introduce myself as your MC for the evening. My name is Prishani Nundkisun, and we are really thrilled to bring to you these weekly webinars to ignite your year-end success. The year has not come to an end, and we're excited to have you here because that means you are looking forward to great things for yourself, and we are looking forward to great things for you. Are you excited? I am, because this evening we are talking about something that we all talk about in our inner circles, but hardly ever join a webinar to say out loud. And so, how exciting to have the love languages of communication for your KPIs being discussed tonight. I see a lot of names. I only see my face, so I'm going to ask for some participation. And I would love for you to let me know in the chat what word comes to your mind when you hear the word KPIs or the abbreviation KPIs or performance meetings or performance appraisals or bonus time. What is the one word that comes to mind? I cannot wait to hear and to see what comes through in our chats. So let me know in the chat for those of you who have joined. What is the one word that comes to mind when you hear performance reviews, KPIs, bonus time, performance discussions? Yep, I can see money, 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 Christmas and holidays, salary increase. Yep, keep those comments coming because we would love to hear all about it. Osagir Consulting has identified a clear gap in the market. And if you happen to visit their website, you will notice their service offerings are dedicated to professionals, but not just professionals. It doesn't stop there. It's dedicated to parents and to kids. And so you are in the right place if you are a professional this evening. Now, it's that time of the year when the big question lurks. Are you getting that bonus or just that polite pat on the back? I see in our chats, when we hear about KPIs, we hear about money, we think about salary increases, we think about achievements. Please continue to let us know in the chat, what is the one word you think about when you hear the word KPIs, performance appraisals, and bonuses? Listen carefully tonight, because as the love language of communication for your KPIs gets discussed, the secret art of winning your boss's heart, and maybe that bonus too, will be revealed. I guarantee tonight, if you are here, you are in the right place. And tonight is just one of many webinars to empower you. So however you got here tonight, however you learned about this webinar, be sure to look out for more. On that note, let us hear from Masego Malapile, the CEO of Osadia Consulting, and no stranger to the world of powerful communication and its impact on our lives. In fact, the only reason I know Masego is because we both went on an intentional decision to grow our own communication skills. So can we see some emoji love for Masego Malapile? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It always pays off to have a very nice and energetic MC. It's always great to make sure that we have that one person that will keep the show alive throughout the day. So before I can even start, how's everyone feeling? How's I know all of you are coming from work. Some of you have some performance review that are coming up. Some of you have reports that you need to send. Some of you are going through retrenchments. There's a lot going on out there. Just quickly, just write on the chat box and just tell me today exactly how are you? How are you feeling? Because we have an interesting topic that we are going to discuss today and a debate afterwards. So the debate will be amongst all of you here in the room. But right now, I just want to know, just tell me in the chat box, how are you feeling? What is your day? You guys are all tired. Oh, Tira said she's tired and your work is working, but we are excited for good things. Let's see more comments on the chat box. How are you feeling today? I'm over. What's this all of it? You know what? She's just over it. Can it just end? Can it be 2025 already? Then 2025 comes in, you'll be like, can it be 2026 already? Then 2026 comes in, you'll be like, can it be 2024 already? Right? It's always it's a wheel that keeps on going and going and going and going and going and going and going, and it doesn't stop. But normally at the time of the year, I'm not sure if you have noticed, we are all tired, right? We're exhausted. Like we just want to go on a holiday. We just want to rest. But we have a burden is we need to make sure that through our performance review, that we perform so well that our companies have no other choice but to give us that extra money for us to go to Dubai. I don't know if they give you enough money to go to Dubai. Just by a show of hands, or even on the chat box, who got a bonus last year? I was looking for myself, so I don't know. I didn't get a bonus. Got a bonus last year. Let's see on the chat box. Got a bonus last year. Okay, I see Prishani got a bonus. Yeah, thumbs up. Tanega, did you get a bonus? And I'm sure there are entrepreneurs. Though you're an entrepreneur, you need to get a bonus, right? The hard work that you put in has to pay off one way or the other. Okay, I can see that a few people said yes and a few people said no. But today I want us to talk about the art of communication, particularly in workspaces, because we have to know how to communicate with our clients. And by clients, I mean the co-workers, anybody else that's outside your department, regards them as a client. Anybody else that works outside your business that requires your service or your help, we refer to them as your client. Now, the question is, how do you engage with the clients that you have? What is the art to this type of communication? Now, the reason why we are having this webinar at the end of the year is because we want to know, how can I lighten up the perception that you have about me as the executive, as the head of HR, as a partner in the company that I work in, for you to actually start realizing the job that I'm doing. The problem is we work in the same company, but we compete with each other. That level of competition stems not only from your co-workers, but it can also stem from different departments because somebody wants to shine above the other one. But what I can tell you that you can win regardless. Who wants to win? Mm-hmm. I don't see. Yeah, there we go. Kunze wants to win. Wants to. No, don't move your hand, Kunze. I want to see people that want to win. Who wants to win? And it's all about communication. It's all about how you communicate. It's difficult. But I want to see, but you can raise your hand so that I can see your screen at the top. Who wants to win? Let's see. I saw Hunze's hand. Okay, Hunze is up again. Lisha is up. Who wants to win? There we go. Andres is up. Silverpot is up. Njabul is up. Tandega is up. We all want to win. All of us, we want to win. Now we're going to have a very difficult conversation. The slide that you're seeing right now, we have a Power BI masterclass that will be happening on the 15th of October, but that's a conversation for another day, actually towards the end of the session. What I want us to focus on today or right now is this: the 5 love languages of communication. Take a wild guess. Who can guess what they are? This time around, unmute yourself. What are the 5 languages? Just take a wild guess. I'll tell you if you're right or not. You can unmute yourself and just shout any love language.
Acts of service.
Don't be shy.
Acts of service.
What? Acts of what?
Of service. Acts of service.
What of service?
Acts.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what is it? What is acts of service?
Oh, for example, let's say Masego would appreciate it if she comes home and I've done the dishes and maybe cooked a nice meal for her.
Okay. Love languages of communication, acts of service. Okay. Somebody else? We have acts of service. Do we all agree with acts of service? Or is there any good man, Kadebe? What do you think are the love languages of communication? Giving, okay.
Quality time.
Quality time. Okay.
Words of affirmation.
With a okay.
And then I think the last one is your favorite. Physical touch.
Wow. Okay. Physical touch. Is that all? Is that all? Okay.
Those
My
are the ones
spiritual
that I
father taught
know.
me. That's fine. So my spiritual father taught me this. Every tree has a fruit, and a fruit will tell you a lot about the tree that it comes. Now, if you want to know somebody else, you need to know their fruit. If you go to a tree and you pick a fruit and you taste it with blindfolded, your taste buds will tell you what fruit this is. It will say it's an apple. It will say it's okay. I know strawberries don't go from trees. It's a strawberry. It will say it's a fig. It's a guava. It's banana. We know the tree based on the fruit that it comes from. Now, every form of communication that requires two people has fruits. I'll give you an example. In a relationship setup where there's two partners, in this type of a setup, the one partner will complain that you don't love me. They say that you don't love me. Then you're like, no, but I love you. I've been showing you that I love you. No, you haven't been showing me that you love me. The miscommunication comes because of one doesn't know what the other one's perception of love is. So sometimes, not even sometimes, all the time, when you're communicating things like love, you have to communicate in the language that the other person understands, right? We'll talk about the love languages of the love languages, or rather, love, what do they call them? 5 love languages. Now, the 5 love languages like your acts of kindness, gift giving, and all of that. And there are some people that don't like physical touch, and you like physical touch. And you think because you like physical touch, you touch them and you show them that you love them, but they say, no, but I don't see it. It's because you're communicating with them in a language that they don't understand. Communication is similar. There are people that receive communication in different ways. In Toastmasters, they will teach you ways in which you can communicate with people. For example, we have storytellers, we have analytical people. Some people they prefer graphs. Some people, they prefer you speaking in a story format. Some people prefer one sentence. Some people prefer you to be in more detail. That's what we call different types of communication. But what about the love languages that we are referring to? When we say the love languages of communication, exactly, what are we referring to? Now, there are a few that we can actually learn from in today's session on what the love languages of communication are. And unfortunately, like the love languages or the 5 love languages, the ones for communication work together. One can't exist without them. It's not like saying, because I like physical touch, I don't like gift giving. It's not the same. So with the 5 love languages, which I believe as time goes on, as we evolve as humans, there will be probably more and more and more and more. But what are these love languages? Why do we need to speak about them? The languages of communication will help you as a communicator with your co-communicator understand each other better. And in a corporate setup, it's difficult because our purpose and our mission differ, our motives differ. It is also different, even in a business setup where all of you are gunning for the same contract. It's difficult. But I still say, even be it as it may, you can still be a winner, but you will need to understand the love languages of communication. These love languages are 5. The first one is, let me share my screen so that we can talk more about this. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I think you're currently sharing it as well.
Okay, so you can see this. Okay. Now, first love language is relationship. Let's talk a little bit about this. You can tell me what this actually means. You can write on the chat box. You can tell me who can tell me what the relationship element actually means. What does it mean? Quality time. Javulo?
I think to me it means how you interact with other people, be it in friendships, romantic relationships, family, all those type of relationships that we have.
Okay. Yes. That's the type of relationship you need to have. Communication that has a relationship inside in it, it's easier to navigate. You have conversations with strangers when you pass them at the garage, the bathroom, at the mall. But when it comes to a person that you have a mission with, we call that a relationship. There's a difference between me talking to you and there's a difference between me communicating with you. Now, communication has an objective. And an objective from the communicator, which is you, the initiator, is I want you to listen to me. I need you to understand me. But the relationship exists. That relationship could be co-workers. Like right now, we are communicating. Our relationship is we are in this webinar learning more about what are these love languages of communication that we need in our workspace. Now, having a relationship, it means that there are qualities of a relationship that needs to exist. Now, this, we take it back to what Andres said on the chat box, requires selflessness. In as much as you're a CEO, in as much as you're an executive, in as much as you're a subordinate, when you are communicating, you take the I out because there is no I in T. Then you bring in the we. That's the first step. It's not about you, it's about us. That's the relationship element that we're talking about. And Lisha C says togetherness and understanding, all part and parcel of the relationship element. Do we understand it? It's difficult, but that's the only way you can be a winner in communication. And if you try it in your workspaces or the people that you work with, you will see that this method not only does it work, it helps you build rapport with people that you need to build rapport. It helps you a lot in establishing various relationships. Can I move on? That's simple one, right? We know relationships, there's relationships between friends, family, different types of relationships that we have. Can I move on? Rowan is very quiet. Show me a thumbs up, or do you want me to dwell more on it? Nah, don't worry. We're going to have breakaway rooms. You will tell us how you understand this type of love language. Goodman says, be interested in engaging people in conversation, even beyond your scope of work. People want to be heard. Absolutely. You cannot speak to a person. You cannot speak above a person. You have to speak with a person. The second one is humility. Yeah. Third one. Now, I want someone different from you to unmute yourself and tell me, what does this part mean? Humility.
To be humble and down to earth and almost be able to engage with people in a way that is kind, like talking to a human being and not like you're talking to some animal.
Absolutely. And you experience something at work, right? That, or even at school, along the lines where people speak to you like you're not a human. I'm sure most of you have such experiences. I think you unmuted yourself, Tanika.
Yes, definitely. But I think I've come to realize that it's people almost acting out of something when you almost, it's either there's a past trauma or you just had a bad day. But to not be a humble person or to not engage with other people with humility, I've realized that it's always triggered by something, but it's almost at the core of everybody.
The most conflict in workplaces that happens, it could be in most cases that a person did wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or they have issues at home, they don't know how to deal with them. We can imagine a person going through a divorce and they walk in the office and they're executive and they start swearing at everyone, but they're reflecting on what's actually happening at home. And then because of at work, it's easy target and you don't necessarily have an emotional relationship with the people at work, it's easier for you to lash on them. Now, humility, what it does, it teaches you to think of yourself lower than the person you're talking to. Now, imagine how beautiful this is when both of you think lower of each other. Like you think this one is above you, you think this one is above you. Humility is, I don't think I'm the greatest. I believe that everybody else in this room contributes far better than me. I believe that I need you for this communication to actually work. That's when we talk about humility. You are humble enough to admit that the person you're talking to, you want to grab more information from them. Then it's easier for you to speak. Now, most people, especially those that are above you rank-wise, prefer this type of communication, where you are humble No, I'm talking about, what did I call them? I don't want to use the word. What did I call them? The kiss, ASS, not that. No, I'm talking about a form of communication where you're so humble that you regard another, even if it's a cleaner, another person's opinion above yours. At the end of the day, two things must happen. It's either you agree or you agree to disagree. But either way, those two outcomes happen in humility. Is that clear? Because I need to wrap up. And active listening. Okay, who can tell me what active listening is quickly?
Listening
Isha,
with intention.
listening with intention. Flower. It's actually simple. Listening with intention. You don't listen to answer, you listen to understand. While we talk, while we have a relationship, while we are humble, we listen to understand and not to respond. Very simple. There's a lot I could speak about this, but probably one day we'll have an in-person webinar where we'll speak more about this. Now, what about judgment? Does it mean that when we speak and we are humble, all very, very marshmallow stuff and gushy gushy, we're good? We don't think about judgment. What about judgment? Why is judgment important in communication? Let me try Rowan, if he's here. Rowan? Okay, Katleho. And Goodman is writing nice stuff in the chat box. Man.
Okay. Hi, good evening. I'm just thinking, Masego, in a corporate world, is it even, is it even allowed, to judge? Because I'm just thinking that in the sense that instead of, because judging for me kills one's self-esteem, the confidence that your colleague might be having, and that it destroys an individual to a point where when they have solid or pointers to give, the fact that they know that they'll be exposed to being judged, they refrain from giving their inputs or contributing to the conversations that might be at hand. So I don't know if, in a corporate world, really, it's that even allowed. That's my contribution to this, because even the picture that you're portraying there, you can see that, this sarcasm behind how the other person is pointing at the other individual, and now the other person is just worried or concerned to say, but what is it that I've done wrong? So I don't think in a boardroom world that it's even allowed or permissible, though we know that we do have colleagues or individuals that judge a lot. Thanks.
So judgment is the ability to tell the difference between right and wrong and make a decision. It comes in many ways, right? When you're communicating, you have your colleagues and co-workers that can lie. They can lie to you. You have to judge when you're communicating. Otherwise, you'll be in bed with the wrong thing. You'll be in bed with corruption. You'll be in bed with things that you shouldn't be in bed. Judgment doesn't mean you have to say to a person, I don't like this and I must put you down. No. Judgment says, we are in a relationship, we are humble, we are listening to each other, but I still have to critically assess what you tell me. Because if I don't assess what you tell me, I'll walk around this country and the world with wrong information. Wrong information about what we speak about, wrong information about what we need. And it happens a lot in corporate when people throw you under the bus. I'll give you an example. You sit outside the boardroom You're having discussions there with your friend and like, oh, this is the resolution that I'm going to put. You get into the boardroom, the person comes in with a different resolution than the one that you agreed on. You need to judge the words, but mostly you need to judge the motive. We cannot live without knowing the motive behind the person that's behind the person behind the conversation. Judgment is one of the critical skills that we need to have as people, but we need to exercise it properly. The nicest thing is it does not exist in its own accord. It exists with other things, like your humility, like your listening, like your relationship. So it's backed up by what will carry the communication forward. This judgment will tell you whether or not the person you're talking about is genuine or not. Another synonym for judgment is discernment. You discern the person you talk to, you discern the information you give you. At the end of the day, like any other human, when information is given to you, you judge on whether it's right or it's wrong. Let me get to the last one before we move on. The last one is delivery. How you deliver communication is critical. It's very important. If you take a young child and you say to them, their minds become blocked because they don't know that form of delivery. Then you come back to them and you say you love them, but continuously you shout. So the interpretation of how you are shouting, you call it love, you call it harshness, rudeness, abuse, verbal abuse. It's communicated in different ways. Communication that is not delivered correctly can be distorted, even after you've judged, even after you're in a relationship, even after everything. How you deliver something to someone is very important. It's like saying to someone, you need to start losing me. It's a typical conversation you need to have, but how you deliver it will determine how the person will receive it. That's why continuously you have to think. Before I even say this to someone, will they be able to take it, yes or no? How will they take it? And because I know they are sensitive, because I have a relationship with them, and I know they're humble enough to speak to me, and I know the fact that they're willing to listen, and I know the fact that we even in a relationship, or rather they're judging what I tell them. Now, if I deliver this in the wrong way, it might actually go haywire. It might definitely go haywire. So there are a lot of things that we can discuss regarding the 5 languages of communication, but make sure that you practice them, especially when you speak to your bosses through it. The nicest thing is, even if somebody is not in this webinar, that they do not understand what these love languages are or what's required to have effective communication, right? If the person is not here, when you practice it, because of communication is a two-way street, what you give, like a double effect, it will come back, meaning that it starts with you, the main communicator. With that being said, with the interest of time, I'd like to hand over back to our MC, Prishani Nundkisun,